Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So the question is, did Black people build America? That is a question that some people seem to be doubtful about. For instance, watch this.
Why don't you build your own country? You didn't fucking build our country. You didn't build shit. Some of you worked here, yeah, but you didn't build. If that was the case, then you could build your own shit in your own country.
So, there's some people out there getting upset whenever we say black labor built this country. But we're not making anything up, guys. These are facts. And we're about to present you with the historical receipts. In case you missed it, this is what we mean when we say we built this. Here's a quick history lesson for y'all. The first slaves were brought to the U.S. in 1619. Their job was simple: to make white settlers money. Slaves grew tobacco, rice, and indigo on the plantations of the southern coast. Now fast forward to the late 18th century, cotton was king, and the U.S. was making stacks of cash on it, especially with all that free labor. Over 600 million, or just about half of the country's economic activity in 1836 came directly or indirectly from cotton. Cotton-producing slaves were just 6% of the population, but created almost half of 1 year's economic activity. We spoke with Professor Edward Baptist, the author of The Half Has Never Been Told.
That 6% figure is specifically the enslaved Africans and African Americans who were in the cotton producing regions. We're looking at like South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana.
Talk about being critical to a nation's economy.
I guess you can imagine some sort of science fiction world where this didn't happen, but this is what did happen. Slave labor built the U.S.
And their contributions weren't limited to the South. A little bit north in D.C., there's the White House. We built that.
I wake up every morning in a house that was built by slaves.
If you doubt our forever First Lady's words, the White House Historical Association spells it out pretty plainly. Planners turned to African Americans, both enslaved and free, to provide the bulk of the labor that built the White House, the United States Capitol, and other early government buildings. This country's financial center, we built that too. Wall Street earned its name because enslaved Africans built a wall to protect Dutch settlers from raids in 1653. This wall ran from river to river. Slaves built the roads, the docks, and most of the big-time buildings in the area that would soon become New York City. And railroads, slaves did that. North America's 4 major rail networks all own lines that were built and operated with slave labor. Before the Civil War, nearly every rail line east of the Mississippi River and south of the Mason-Dixon line was constructed or run at least partly by slaves. You know what else we built? What about that great American music genre? Yes, rock and roll. We built that too. And blues, and jazz, and hip hop, and pop. America's favorite snack food, that was the black guy behind the potato chip. The ironing board, a sister. The traffic light, yep, he was black. The super soaker, that was a dude named Lonnie. He's black too. And the person who invented the technology responsible for the caller ID and call waiting, her name is Dr. Shirley Jackson. And yes, she's black. Clearly, there isn't enough time to go through all the ways black people have built this country. They're vast. Don't get it twisted. Native American and many immigrant communities have made tremendous contributions to the infrastructure, identity, and imagination of the U.S. as well. So when we say we built this country, we actually mean it.
And there you have it. Without all of the systems that she listed in that video, there would be no America as we know it. It might be something else, but it wouldn't be this. So when we see angry white men like the one in this video talking about you ought to build your own country, well, actually, Black people have built their own countries. The problem is keeping people like him out of their countries, coming in and destroying what Black people built. But as far as this country is concerned, we did build a country. We built this one. So I want to add to and clarify what she said. And I got my information from the National Museum. I asked the question, what part did enslaved people play in building America? The answer, enslaved people were central to building America. Their forced labor created the economic foundation, physical infrastructure, and cultural resilience that shaped the nation. So let's look at the economic foundation. This country was built on agricultural wealth. Enslaved labor produced the most profitable commodities of the early United States: cotton, tobacco, rice, and sugar. By the mid 19th century, cotton alone accounted for half of all U.S. exports, fueling both domestic prosperity and international trade. Cotton alone, just cotton, not even counting tobacco, rice, and sugarcane, was very, very profitable. So the economic system was built on the backs of the enslaved people. Now, as far as the industrialization, the profits from the slavery provided financial capital that funded banks, railroads, and factories, especially in the North. You understand? Then by 1860, enslaved people were collectively valued at $2.7 billion, making them the single largest financial asset in the country. That's what we mean when we say we built the country. Without all of this, and this is just the economic foundation. I haven't even gotten to the physical infrastructure. So when you see angry white people saying you didn't do this and you didn't, we built the country, they have no idea what it was that they did. And people like this man most likely didn't even get here until the infrastructure was put into place. Nobody has ever said that other people didn't make a contribution to America. But the infrastructure and the financial and economic system were built on the backs of the enslaved people, and that remains unchanged no matter how much they get mad about it. Now, the money that was made to jumpstart this country was made by those crops: the cotton, the rice, the tobacco, and the sugarcane. That was the economic foundation. Now we have to get to the physical infrastructure, the actual building of the country. Enslaved workers literally built parts of the United States Capitol, the White House, and other government buildings. They constructed churches, universities, and state houses, as well as plantations and farms that sustained regional economies. They built the roads, the bridges, they put in the sewer systems. Whatever had to be done, the enslaved people had to do it. That's what the forced labor was all about. That's the infrastructure of this country, the actual building of all of these state houses and universities and churches and things. The enslaved people built these things. It's documented. The white people documented this. We didn't make it up. That's what we mean when we say we built the country. We already know that all of the music genres in the United States came from the enslaved people. We have enhanced sports in the United States. The inventions that have been created in the United States are just numerous. We're still discovering that so many of the inventions that we never thought about were made by Black American people. So I'm giving a basic overview of why we say we built the country. Now, there's so much more to it than what I've presented here, because it would take a lifetime for us to tell everything. So we can't tell it all. But you get an idea about what we're talking about when we say we built the country, and we did. The enslaved people were the backbone of the American economy, builders of its institutions, and carriers of cultural traditions. Their forced contributions made the United States a global power. Let me say that again. Forced slave labor made the United States a global power, while our struggle for dignity and freedom shaped the nation's moral and political trajectory. Now, what did white people do here? They created the military and the government. White people put the government in place. They did the three branches of government and set up the political infrastructure and the military. But that came after the physical infrastructure was put into place. That's what we need to be clear about. All right, y'all. We'll keep this conversation going because it's very important at this critical hour in the United States of America. Thank you for listening and have a good evening.